welcome to Diana Does It. My name is Diana and today we're talking about my fancy new money saving method that I learned about over the last few months, recommended to us by Forbes itself. If you're returning, you'll know that I'm talking about the 50-30-20 method, and in today's video I'm going to cover what that method is, how well it works, and some tips and tricks to help us moving forward. So the 50-30-20 spending model is an idea that was recommended as a sustainable way of spending your money by Forbes in an article. The basic principle is that 50% of your earnings are supposed to go to your essential spending. That's your bills and your food and your necessities. 30% of your spending is supposed to go to personal items, so things that you don't need but you want, i.e. your shopping trips and your gym memberships. And then 20% of all your money is supposed to go to savings. Now, as part of a challenge, I was only supposed to spend about 30% of my money on things that I wanted and leave the 50% to the essentials and 20% obviously to my savings. I go into more detail in a previous video that I did on my finances, so you can check that out if you'd like to see it. Surprisingly guys, this was super easy. It actually works. First and foremost, this method helps you visualize just how broke you are. I don't know if anybody else is that kind of person that you get paid like £1,000 and then you think you're £1,000 richer. No. Once you actually break it up into those portions, I could see exactly what my 30% allowance meant, whereas when all my money was just bunched into one, I would kind of think I had lots more money to do things than I thought. You're saving money just by knowing how much money you can afford to spend, and immediately it helps you stay in your financial lane. The second thing I noticed, which is quite similar to the last point I just made, I already mentioned that it was a lot easier to limit my personal spending to 30% than I originally thought. Literally because before I was just so unaware of my spending habits that money would just go down the drain without me even noticing. And previously I was just like an unconscious saver. I would just put a random £10 or £20 note in my account whenever I felt like I had a little bit of extra money, and of course that was not sustainable. I'd always end up being in the deep end at some point because I just wasn't saving enough money regularly. And as soon as I implemented the rule, I consistently had, no matter what, come rain, come thunder, 20% of my money going into my savings, and that was brilliant. And then I also think you get the other kind of saver, you know, the kind of person that gets like £1,000 and then is so conscious of their spending that they put like £900 away at the beginning of the month, and then they end up having to like dip into their savings all month long. Then it just becomes pointless because they take all the money back out anyway. So personally, I think the 50-30-20 rule did a really good job of avoiding both ends of the spectrum by creating really distinct lines for spending and making me more conscious of it as well. And another thing that I noticed, right, is just like my edges, life is not consistent and you will have to vary the spending. The rule is a really good foundation and a starting point for money saving, but as you go on, you will realize that maybe your income will change or your outgoings will change. For example, I started college in September of this year and my outgoings increased pretty much because of traveling to and from London. So I made the personal choice to just take 10% out of my personal spending and flood it into my essentials, and I was good to go. I carried on my merry way. Another reason you might need to vary your spending limit is maybe if you have a time limited goal. Because for me, I was quite happy to save money at a leisurely pace until I could afford what I wanted. But you might have a goal that's necessary to meet by a certain point, and for that you might need to adjust how much you save on a regular basis to meet it by a certain time. So if you decide to implement the 50-30-20 rule, if you haven't already, then here's some tips and tricks to help you moving forward. I would suggest having 3 separate bank accounts for each category, simply for the reason that you need to be able to visualize how much money is in each account. It's easier to keep track of it that way. I've always had 3 accounts for my money, but at the start I only had 1 card. So I just kept transferring the money between the essentials and the personal spending and just trying to keep track of it that way. If I went food shopping and then went clothes shopping, I would kind of separate how much I'd spent and then put it back into the right account, even though I'd used 1 card. Eventually it became such a ball ache and I lost track, and actually that really put me off the spending model. So ideally you would have 3 bank accounts, 1 savings account that you can't touch, that you have no access to, an account for your essentials and an account for your personal spending, each with their own card. The second and only other tip that I can give you is that discipline cannot be bought. You can't be dipping into any of the accounts just whenever you feel like it, otherwise it completely defeats the purpose. I know some of you are probably sitting there with your fancy money saving spreadsheets like, ugh, amateurs, this is so basic. Yeah, it's a pretty basic beginner's way of saving money, but I genuinely think it works. If you've previously been really bad at saving money and just don't have the capacity or the energy to be doing complicated spreadsheets, then I think this is a really good starting point and a step in the right direction. I've implemented it myself in the past, and when I lost track of it, seriously, I felt so lost with my money. So I'm super excited that I re-implemented it a couple of weeks ago. So if any of you guys have already implemented it, I would love to hear how it's going for you, or if you're going to try and implement it, I'd love to know down in the comment section below on my Twitter or on my Instagram, wherever it is that you want to drop by and say hi. But that's it for today. I'll see you guys very soon in the next video, but just remember that whatever it is that you're doing or not doing, enjoy yourself, make the most of it, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!